What's up, guys? Good morning. This is Mark here at Kustoms Motorsports here in Cleburne, Texas. We yesterday had a customer call us around noon, maybe. I spoke to him for about 30 minutes on the telephone. He lives in Houston, so he lives about 4 hours away from our store. He had some stuff put in at another place near him. We won't mention the name because that's not important. And one, he wasn't very happy, and two, he wanted to add some upgrades. So he's been following us for quite a while, and now was the time for him to jump on it and come to Wired Customs to get it done right. Especially he's wanting some higher end equipment, and that's what we're going to give him. So here's the truck right here, 2022 Chevrolet Silverado High Country. This is the top of the line truck. We have done easily 100 19 to 22s full builds easily. Probably more than any other store that I can name. I guess you have to hit that button twice. Hang on just a minute. Let's open her up. Where do we put the keys? There it is. All right. 1, 2. So, one quick little thing here. He's got a true 3K amplifier. I won't speak the name because I don't carry that product. Nor do I support it. So, but when you look at the speakers, you'll know what brand it is. But all this equipment, and we have a prefab box. Prefab box isn't going to give him the performance that he wants. So no matter how much money he spent, he would never truly be happy with a prefab. A prefab is perfectly okay for small stuff and for a client that is just wanting a little extra, right? And it doesn't even look like, well, it is ported, but it's ported in the middle. Ported in the middle is not a good option in these trucks because it has no way to what's called load. The port needs to load off of a panel. If you notice, from here to here is way too far of a distance for that port to load properly. When we create these, and when we create this box, we're going to have the port left and right. That way it can load against the panel. The door panel, it will be about 8 inches from each panel, maybe even less. If you notice how close that is to the door panel, that part is very, very, very important. I understand the reason why the prefab companies create it into the middle, because it's easier, and there's no chance that the speaker can hit the port when it's dropped into the enclosure. So if the port is right here and the speaker's too large, it might hit that port, and then the customer can't use that enclosure no matter what. So to prevent that, they stick it in the middle, and they understand it's not going to perform as well. So that's what you get with the prefab. It's not the customer's fault. It just is what it is. What happens is customers will eventually call us and we'll create them a custom enclosure. So we're going to be adding rear speakers. Right now it is stock. I will tell you, this truck has Bose, which means it is amplified from the factory. On these 19 to 22s, if you own one, you probably already know and you've looked into it. If you have the amplified option, you know that there's a part made that is supposed to be used, that is better to use, which is created by a company called Nav TV. Well, about 2 years ago, Nav TV came out with an integration part to add aftermarket amplifiers, and everything was great until about 3 months. And 3 months comes along and we start having problems. Everybody across the whole United States started having problems with these 19 to 22s because of the coding that Chevrolet did within the computer of the car, as I use that word in layman's terms. Changes the code every time you turn the key on and off, and that screws up with their module. So for over 2 years now, they have been trying to correct the part to make it work more effectively. The part does work, however, randomly you will lose audio, and what we've been doing to correct that is add a switch. But right now, and there hasn't been none of those parts available for at least a year. If you come across one, I would tell you to still grab it if you can find it, and just add a switch to turn the key on and off while you're still driving, not have to turn off the car. That's the only option at this time. However, we're gonna do it in a roundabout way, and we're gonna add a DSP. There's a lot of stuff you have to do to make this work. It's not a standard installation at all, because it has the amplified system from Chevy. So all these trucks have that 8-inch or 8.5, 9, whatever it is, screen that will stay. We are going to pop out these stock tweeters right up in here. We're going to create a plate to hold our tweeter, because when you pull out that speaker, it's like a 2.5 to 3-inch speaker. That's like a large tweeter. Well, we're going to stick in a real tweeter, and our tweeter is smaller, yet a lot more high performance than what is in there now. We're going to also pull out these front speakers here and make another adapter plate to hold our 6.5-inch Audio Dynamics 3000s is what we're going to be adding in the fronts. We're going to be putting the fronts passive on a crossover. That way everything in the truck is amplified. We're doing some 80 2000s in the rear at 80 DSP. As you can tell, we try to use Audio Dynamics for speakers quite often, and all their amplifiers are great. Their whole product line is amazing. So that's what we're going to do. We're also going to be creating a custom enclosure, like I stated earlier. This is a pretty large build here, and he came 4 hours away. He's going to come back on Saturday to pick it up, hopefully, if we can get it complete. We are also, because he already has 3,000 watts, so we're going to swap out his batteries with some AGMs. And so that's it, guys. We're going to start ripping this truck apart because we have a deadline. And when we often have clients come from hours and hours and states away, so we have to have everything on point at all times, which no matter how far you live, it's going to be on point at all times, because you came here. So that's just what we do. We cost a little bit more. Like I explained to people, we cost a little bit more, but you're getting way more. So there's a lot of people that try the cheaper route and end up here and end up having to spend more money, and unfortunately, because one, a lot of these new cars aren't easy, and a lot of places are practicing with your car. So don't let that happen. Come to trusted professionals. All of our techs are certified technicians. It is not a requirement in the industry, yet they are all certified. It's very, very important. Ask if your store is. Ask if they care. Ask if you care. You should probably ask some stuff like that. Not that that's a determining factor in how great the person is, because there's a lot of them that aren't great, that are certified, but all of our techs are top-notch, absolutely, without a doubt, and our work speaks for itself. Thank you for watching. You can visit us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. This client actually came across us on YouTube. Literally, people will spend hours watching our content. And I'm trying to make the videos better for you guys and more detail oriented. It takes time, and that time is hard to come by, but I am trying. 682-500-0209 is our store number. If you want to email us, this guy started out with an email, wiredcustoms@gmail.com. All right, I am in the office right now. I just got his invoice typed up. It was kind of a last minute thing here. So we're gonna go hang it up onto the truck. That way the techs know exactly what to do. Everything that's on the invoice will be completed, and that helps us stop accidentally skipping anything. All right, guys, Mr. Locke just now pulled out the rear chair portion, or we're gonna let you guys look at the wiring. That came from another place that we're not going to mention, like I stated earlier. But just to give you some perspective on, you know, kind of not all places are equal type of thing. So let's start off with a quick pan, front to back. Okay, see all that? All right, not horrible, not horrible. Maybe like a 4 to 5 out of 10, maybe. The majority of them that come in are honestly like a 1 to 2, sometimes even a 0. Like, how did they even do that type of thing? But we're gonna start with the LC2i here. It is literally just hanging out, so no mounting. So what's gonna happen? It's gonna be moving around, and it's just not mounted. That's a big no-no. So just kind of hanging out. Like they tried to use Tessa tape, you know. They tried. This is extremely tight right there. They tried. They at least tried. I'm not gonna like demolish them, but it's not good. It's definitely not good. There is no amp rack. They just screwed to the rear wall. If you notice, check this out, okay? You can stick your whole hand back here. If I wanted to yank that off with my hand, I could yank that off with my hand. Just throwing that out there. So it's not the worst of the worst, but it's not great at all. Man. This is what you get. That's what you get. Like, this could have at least been tied all in one and blacked out. See, the problem is a lot of times when people put stuff in, they don't think about it might end up at another store, and it might come to a store like us where we take videos and we post stuff and we just exposed good quality work and the bad work. So if it leaves here, it's going to be right, and I can guarantee you we cost more than what he paid here. Again, this is not the customer's fault. This is not his fault at all. This is just what you get at certain places. So, like stuff like this, it kind of tells me they kind of cared a little bit, you know, because I've seen way worse. No telling where it's grounded at, if the ground's good. Actually, it's right there. So they used Nemesis wire. Yeah. I'll stop right there, but it's not how we ground them here. We use, we thread, and we use a nut and a bolt. But there's technically, a ground is a ground if it's grounded. That's some terminology that's used, but not gonna beat them up on that part. But don't use that Nemesis wire, guys. We're gonna create a whole amp rack. We're gonna create an attachment method to not have to go through the rear wall there. We're going to use some bracketry that's on the truck, not specifically here, but you know, like we would make a bracket to screw to that or something, or to screw to this part right here, or a part of the truck that's not being used. Now this is the High Country. They probably had a rough time because there was stuff all over this back wall and they had to relocate stuff. If you're not used to having to do that, it is not easy. Our very first one, we opened it up and it was like, where are we gonna put our stuff? We have like 4 amplifiers. One of them, we literally had 4 amplifiers that had to go on that rear wall. It's hard, it's not easy. It's not for a person that's never done this before to attempt it on these new cars, especially these new Chevys. Especially if you have a High Country, a top trim level. There's a ton of stuff on this rear wall. All right, guys, peace out. I'm a store where you have zero pressure here. I don't care. I will never pressure you into anything. I'm gonna tell you the price of whatever the stuff is, and you just tell me yes or no, and we go about it, and we either do it or we don't. But I feel okay as long as I tell you from a professional standpoint, and as long as I tell you what I would do if it were my truck or if it was my vehicle from my customer starting out fresh. So he opted to have us replace the wire. There's very little profit in this. This is nothing to do with profit or making money. This is everything to do with doing it right. Copper to reduce the power that the amplifier can create because it's not getting as much current. That is a proven fact. There is many tests out there on YouTube. You're more than welcome to check what I just stated and go check for yourself. So we're gonna pull out the Nemesis oxygen-free wire. All right, I had to cut that off. I had a customer walk in, but what's up, guys? We are up in the truck here. Just another quick little thing here on the stock amp where they tapped into. That's Tessa tape. It's not electrical tape. It should be electrical tape. Tessa tape doesn't work in this application. You don't use Tessa to protect to cover up the exposed wire. You use electrical tape and then Tessa maybe on top of it. You never use Tessa only. It's a poor choice. The ground wire coming out, they got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws. Again, technically if it's grounded, but it's just not how we do it here. So we're gonna redo that and get that right. But now we have to cover up all those holes. And then all these holes here, because this amp is actually, we're gonna have to pull this off because we're going to make our own amp rack and attach it properly. So now we're going to yank this power wire out and let you guys look at it. Ready? Yeah.
All right, guys, we're taking the door panel off here of this dually Chevy. You got 1 7mm here, 2 7mm here, 1 7mm on the bottom. You start from the bottom, give a gentle tug, lift it up, comes right off.
And there's a harness you pop out.
The door lock, pull that, release it, and be careful not to break this.
Yeah. Or leave it like this and close the door. I've done it.
You got a factory 6.5
Stick it
inch
right back in there.
bows.
Cool. While I'm rolling, I'll get the front too. All right, guys, I am up under this car here for a reason. The reason is to show you how important small stuff is. That's a power wire. That's going up into the cabin in by the rear. What should we have around the wire? We should have probably a grommet that's made out of plastic or rubber. There's nothing there. That's literally a power wire with a hole created and no grommet around it. That's horrible. This truck's like 100 grand. Literally, this truck is $100,000. That can cost you your truck. All right, so once we pull out the stock speaker, the speaker and the adapter plate is an all-in-one thing that's kind of like created. It's one part. You can't just pull out the speaker and pop in your new speaker like you might think. So we have to create adapter plates. And these adapter plates we create out of 1/2-inch expanded PVC. Expanded PVC out of 1/2 inch. This is what they look like. 1/2 inch right there. And then we will pull this part out and then put this in its place, screw it to the panel, put a little deadener behind it, that way it don't rattle, and then mount the speaker to the plate. This is for the rear here. We also have the front created as well. We try to pre-make these when possible. Here's the front one right here. It's going to be an exact match to what that one looks like, just not a 6x9, a 6.5. When possible, we always try to use a round speaker. Round speaker can stay more linear as it travels, as opposed to a 6x9. That's why your square kickers, you know, round speakers better, or everybody else would be having a square speaker.
All right, little fun fact today at Wired Customs, guys. Now, most other audio shops will use one remote wire to power on every single accessory, amplifier, DSP at one time. That's not it. That's one way to do it. It's not the proper way to do it, because that one remote wire you're using may not have enough amperage to power everything. The proper way to do it is to build a relay here. This one relay is a 30 amp relay. It's gonna power everything properly, make sure it got enough voltage and amperage. That way, nothing fails inside the system.
All right, guys, he is being politically correct in telling you that it's one way of doing it. It is technically one way of doing it, but the non-politically correct way, the real way for me to state that, is it's wrong. Do not do that. I'm going to give it to you raw and not sugarcoat it. It is wrong to use one remote wire for all of that stuff. Don't do it. It won't be done here. We will do it right at all costs. What's up, guys? Mark here, Wired Customs. It is another day. Today is Thursday. It is freezing cold here in Texas. A lot of people think it does not get cold here. It gets freezing cold here. I've lived in a lot of places and it gets colder up north, but it still gets cold here in Texas. So anyways, before all the techs are here and everything, I'm going to show you guys the amp rack that he's working on. It is not complete, so do not judge based off of this. I'm only showing it to you to let you look at it. So as you know, on this rear wall, there isn't no space at all. There is literally all this stuff had to be taken off the rear wall. We're going to have to relocate it appropriately where it can mount, not just throw it in there like kind of how it came here. So this is the window regulator module. That's the small amplifier. This is the amplifier. There's two more parts over there. Those are all stock parts, and those have to stay there, or they have to stay on the rear wall and have to be plugged into the harnesses that they're already plugged into. And then we have 4 other components that we have to add on there, and 2 of them are extremely large, big power. Here is the amp rack as it is at this moment. Again, it's not done. Don't freak out, even though it's better than probably what most people could do anyways, and it's not even complete yet. So, all right, so we got 2 fuse holders here. Everything has our custom Wired Customs heat shrink on there, like this right here. Wired Customs, we stick that around the copper lug, and that insulates it, as well as it tells us that we did the install. maybe once or twice a year, a person will be confused, or I don't know what's going on, but they'll pull in and tell us that we did it, and I'm like, that's not our wire. One, because that's not the wire that we use ever, and it doesn't have our labeling on there. So it's a lot of small stuff like that can help us determine that, because we do a lot of cars each year, a lot where sometimes it's hard to remember all of them. Of course, if you did 300 to 400 cars a year, that would be pretty extremely hard, on the upwards of 400 easily. So all right, this is the relay pack. If you were watching the video earlier, the tech spoke about the relay pack, and then I came in and spoke a little bit about it too. You are turning on 4 different components. The remote wire on that one line, the more that it's split off. And then what will happen is everything will be working perfectly okay, and then this will turn off, or that will turn off, or all of these components will turn off, but that'll stay on. Well, if this isn't on, that's not on. It's on, but it won't produce any output. So everything has to work properly, and that's why a relay has to be added. That is the only proper way to go about it. So this amplifier is the customer's amplifier. He already had it. He came to me and was wanting to get louder. I will tell you, the majority of places would have tried to talk him into their equipment. They would have told him, oh man, this is not a great amp. I think you should get my amp. Well, we're a store that does the right thing, and I told him, there's nothing wrong with your equipment. There's absolutely nothing wrong with this amplifier here. It's actually a great amplifier, as much as I don't want to state that. I am a realist, and I am a very authentic person, and I will never tell a customer that they need to change their equipment out for no reason. So I told him to stick with this amplifier, and then we're gonna add this big 6-channel high-end, high-fidelity amplifier from Audio Dynamics. That is what this one is here. This one has just 1 power and 1 ground. It's their 3K amplifier, and our 6-channel amp does around 1400 watts RMS. A lot of people always ask me, are you sure that's RMS? Of course, if I ever speak any power, I am going to be speaking in RMS. You will never hear me speak about a peak rating or a dynamic rated power, which is the same thing. Peak is pointless in our industry, and I wish they would get rid of that word altogether, because what happens is you have one person's amplifier, and they're calling it a 2K, and it really does 500 watts, and you're like, why is the price so huge difference? And you go and get that cheap one thinking you're getting 2,000 watts, and you're really getting screwed. So that's our DSP, and then our audio control center there, because he listens to Mexican music, or aka Spanish music, that style of music that does not have a lot of bass recorded in the original recording. All right, guys. All right, guys, the truck's all done. We're gonna turn it on. I cannot play music and video, so we're gonna hope the AM/FM's half-ass okay. Probably not is. I mean, it's probably not. This truck has a cool little camera system right here. Got sunroof, custom box, AD plaque on there. Pretty standard stuff here. Again, we swapped out the tweeters, added the AD higher quality 3000s in the front. You have a bass knob that has voltage control, clipping indicator, low level indicator, and this is for his epicenter right there, the audio control. And stock radio was retained. We did not use the nav TV part because it is not available, the nav TV module. He does lose some features. He loses his chimes when the key, well, there's no key, but if your door is open, it'll go ding, 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 ding. There's a couple of other chimes. One unfortunate thing is the backup sensors do not work. There's no way that we know of, and we have located, we've spoke to many other places, and you cannot retain the backup portion of the stock system in this whenever we're running just a DSP. That's what that module is for. Unfortunately, that module is not available. Hopefully that module will become available this year, towards the end of this year, or hopefully in the beginning of next year. We've been waiting for this module for over 2 years. So we have a lot of people waiting on that module. We've done, like I told you guys, over 100 of these 19 to 22s. We're doing another one here right now. It is obviously now complete. There's the enclosure again. It's got 4 8-inch, that brand, but let's see here. Actually, he's got looks like he's got XM on here, so. Always make sure your epicenter is off.
My grandpa fought in World War II when he was such a noble dude. Man, I feel like such a fool. I got so much left to prove. All my friends are fake friends.
I don't like that at all. I don't like that. What's playing?
To miss you, wonder about who's with you. Till I want you up whenever I want to. If I didn't love you, if I didn't love you, wouldn't still cry sometimes. Wouldn't have to fake a smile. Laid off and tell a lie. Somebody asked how.
Positive YouTube is gonna hate me when I upload this because we're playing some Jason Aldean. They love to restrict my content on there, and ain't nothing I can do about it, but it is what it is. We're gonna rock and roll with it. We're gonna compile all this stuff together and let you guys watch the whole video. You will have already been watching the video at this point whenever you get to this point here. But again, guys, this truck is complete. It took us about 3 full days, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Yeah, about 3 full days to complete it. 2 technicians on it. I kind of helped out a little bit. Speaker box we already had pre-made, ready to go. These trucks take about 3 to 4 to 5 days to properly do. If you pull into a store and they tell you they can do it in one day, please run away. There's a problem with that. Ain't no way you can do that in one full days of work. I don't care if 3 people are on it. Just the amp rack alone takes about 4 hours. The amp rack by itself takes about 4 hours to properly cut the plastic, to mold the plastic, to create the bracketry. Now keep in mind though, when the truck pulled in, what was back there? It was just screwed to the wall, and stuff wasn't even screwed in. So of course some places can knock it out quicker because it's half-assed. It's not right. Know who you're giving your money to and letting touch your $100,000 truck, please. We cost more because you're getting more. You're getting more for your money, and generally speaking, it's going to be done once and be done right. And if there is a problem, we're going to take care of the problem. That's the huge difference in one store to the next. A lot of places just want your money. Once they get your money, you are now a number to them, and they do not like to help you after the fact. I'm just giving it to you raw and uncut because that's what I would expect a person in place to give to me. I would respect that. So hopefully you can respect that as well. If you guys are ready to schedule, we work with a lot of logistics companies. We can help you get the truck here. If you're far away, but kind of local, but like an hour or two, we can help you figure out how to get the truck here. We help people more than any other store out there. I can stake my reputation on those words. Wired Kustoms Motorsports, wiredcustomsmotorsports.com, wiredcustoms.com. If you'd like to email us, you can email us at wiredcustoms@gmail.com. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and on YouTube. Again, you can get caught up for hours watching our content on YouTube. I'm trying to be more detail oriented like I have here. I got way more content than I usually am able to obtain. A lot more than I'm usually able to obtain because because I'm busy. So it's hard for me to walk away and grab content when I have this other guy that's waiting for me to complete his car, or we have multiple techs running around and I'm trying to help them run the business and do everything else. It's not as easy as it looks, even though I might make it look easy. It is absolutely hard. And if it was easy, keep in mind everybody and their brother would be doing it. Many have tried, many have not made it. It's very unfortunate, but a lot of people don't know how to also take care of their clients. I preach all the time. You can be the best at what you do. You can be amazing at what you do. If you don't understand how to take care of a client, you did all that for nothing. They're gonna leave with nice stuff and a sour taste in their mouth that person did not care about me. You have to care about your clients. If you're another store and you follow us and you look up to us, which I understand a lot of people do because I get the messages quite often. One, I appreciate you following us. It takes a person with no ego to follow a store and go, I want to be more like that place, or I strive to do better because they are doing it. You know, I did that in the very beginning and I still do that now. There's specific stores I look up to and I respect, and there's a lot of stores I don't. So you're going to have to, as the client, pick and choose whom you choose to take your business to, and understand that after they take your money, are they going to help you in case there's a problem? This client lives in Houston, 4 to 5 hours away, depending upon how fast you drive. I always have the discussion with them that we are installing electronic parts, and parts can screw up randomly. Parts can go bad randomly. If there's a problem, just know that I will help you. You have to obviously get the truck to me for me to help you. So if the truck gets to me, I'm going to help you. Of course, I can't drive to Houston if there's a problem. Just imagine that. Like I've driven, I have done it before, not to Houston specifically. I have driven as far as an hour and a half, maybe 8 to 10 times to help people out, but I cannot continue to do that because it's really, you just have to bring the car here. All of our tools are here, the techs are here. It's hard to go out mobile like that and help, but I am here to help you, and that's the main thing. I'm not going to tell you to come back in 2 weeks, come back in 3 weeks. I'm busy. You'll never hear that out of my mouth. You will always get it raw and straight with me and straightforward. Again, that's what I would expect as a client, and that's what I'm going to deliver to you. Thank you for watching, guys. 2022, another 2022 high country is complete. Thank you for watching.